What's up, Palords? It's your god, Lightwater here, coming at you with another video. And today, we're going to be talking about Holy Paladin and how to heal in 5-mans. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Okay, so here are my talents that I prefer for 5-mans. It's actually the same exact build for Raid. Now, I do think there's a couple options that you can change here. For one, I think if you wanted to do a Beacon of Virtue for 5-mans, you definitely could. I'm still actually really liking Divine Purpose. And for 5-mans, you could probably run Bestow Faith instead of Crusader's Might, depending on the dungeon. But it's kind of up to you. I really still like the build that we did for raiding and 5-mans. It's just something about this really fast play style. Has a lot of damage. I feel like it's not like gimped because, you know, Light of Dawn still heals 5 targets. So I'll kind of go over it now. Essentially, we'll work our way backwards. First thing we should read, though, is Awakening. So Light of Dawn, 15% chance to give you Avenging Wrath for 10 seconds. That's your wings. Then, because of that, I took Divine Purpose. So I have a 20% chance every time I cast Light of Dawn or Holy Shock that it won't use this cooldown, and the next one will be free. That means I don't really run out of mana, and I'm constantly getting free procs all the time, which means really high uptime on that. Let's go ahead and read Crusader's Might now. So, Crusader's Strike reduces cooldown of Holy Shock and Light of Dawn's cooldown by 1.5 seconds. So, when I'm healing in 5-mans, I'm constantly hitting Light of Dawn on cooldown, I'm constantly hitting Holy Shock on cooldown, and I'm constantly Crusader Striking on cooldown to get both Holy Shock and Light of Dawn off cooldown even more. And all of that scales with Haste. Haste reduces the cooldown of Light of Dawn, and Haste reduces the cooldown of Holy Shock, and Haste reduces the cooldown of Crusader Strike. Since it reduces the cooldown of the ability, and then it reduces the cooldown of the ability that reduces the cooldown of the ability. Haste double dips, which is why Haste is your best stat. I'll get into that later. But with this build, Haste is your best stat, and I'm actually really liking the playstyle. There's a little bit of flexibility here with the talents, but I guess I can kind of go over those a bit. I really like Rule of Law. It basically means that no matter where I'm at, I can always heal people when I need to. I realize that there is a lot of benefit to having more mobility, but I'm finding that I'm generally pretty mobile, and whenever I do have to move, I just throw in a Light of Martyr, or a Holy Shock, or a Light of Dawn, or any instant cast that I have, you know, lay on hands during the movement phase. So I don't feel like I'm suffering from movement. I actually feel like Paladins are really good on movement, so that's why I like Rule of Law. I guess I could go Unbreakable Spirit if I want to do some more some more martyrding, because this does reduce the cooldown on your Divine Protection, which I use Divine Protection every time I do Light of the Martyr, so I don't hurt myself as bad. And obviously having your shield and your lay on hands on a shorter cooldown could be good. So I'd actually suggest that Unbreakable Spirit and Rule of Law are about both equal. I guess I could do Unbreakable Spirit, but I really just do like the range, and it does increase the mastery, which is technically an HPS increase. This row is just CC. You can pick whatever. I've been going Mercy for the next row. I mean, this you could just pick whatever you want. I like the little bit of healing. You know, after we kill a trash pack, if everybody's at like 90% or 80%, I don't even have to heal them. Mercy heals them up. It's just nice, consistent healing. The active is pretty not that good, because obviously the RM mastery actives of Sacrifice and Devotion are way better. But hey, that is what it is. You guys can use whatever you want here. Honestly, this is another I really just don't feel like the game changes that much, right? If you take Sac, you'll be reducing a lot of damage you take, but you'll have to heal yourself more. Take Devotion Aura, everybody will just take a tiny bit less damage. You take Aura of Mercy, you'll have constant heals. The Aura of Mercy is the best passive, the worst active. Aura of Sacrifice is the worst passive with the best active, and Devotion Aura is the middle of the road choice, in my opinion. I don't think you'll be forced to not take Aura of Mercy until higher keys. When you do really, really high Mythic Plus, you'll probably have to go one of these two. Probably Aura of Sacrifice, and you always have to pair it with either a Divine Protection or a Divine Shield. Or you could take Devotion Aura, and it's basically, with Aura Mastery, is a 20% wall for your whole group, which is pretty good. So maybe later on you won't be able to use Mercy, but for now, I find it's pretty good. It's a decent chunk of my healing. Next row. So since you aren't always fighting single target stuff, Judgmental Light's not always the best. Judgmental Light's really good for boss fights, but it's not good otherwise, and it's just another global you have to push, and it costs mana, so Judgment's not free. Judgment, I believe, is... yeah, Judgment's pretty costly. Wait, 600 mana. I guess it's not that bad. What is that? 0.6%. Guess it's not too bad, but it's just another button they have to press. Holy Prism. This spell is just shit in my opinion. Like, I don't know. I've just never been a fan. Like, I'd rather have a cooldown or another button I can always press. If you like Holy Prism, I guess you can use it. It does okay healing. Like, if you hit all 5 people that happen to be in 15 yards, then it would be like 16k healing, which is like whatever. That's like 1 flash of light. I don't know. I just think it costs a lot of mana and doesn't really do anything. What does Holy Prism do that you don't already do as a Paladin? I really like Holy Avenger. Okay, increase your haste by 30% and your Holy Shock healing by 30% for 20 seconds. It is unfortunately on the GCD, so you got to be careful because you always want to pair Holy Avenger with your wings, right? And I'm in my wings uptime a lot, so I really like Holy Avenger. And with this build, when you pop Holy Avenger, you're almost certainly going to get free wings because it increases your haste, which means you're casting more Light of Dawns, you're getting more Crusader Strikes off, which gives you more Light of Dawns, you're getting more Divine Purpose Light of Dawns. You pretty much have your wings up 24/7, and it just makes you into a healing god. So, next row, the numbers on the... Okay, so Sanctified Wrath I don't actually think is that good. If your Avenging Wrath lasts 25% longer, that's okay. And the cooldown reduction on Holy Shock is nice. It's definitely nice, and I guess you could use this as like a DPS cooldown or HPS cooldown, but I just think it just pales in comparison to the amount of free like wings you're going to get over here. So if you want a more intense, wings, you can go with Sanctified Wrath. But personally, I really am in love with Awakening, and I feel like this is just a cheese talent. This talent does not do enough healing when you're actually using it, except for like to heal trash packs. And so in Mythic Plus, I don't believe this will do enough healing to actually do what you need it to do. And it just kind of makes you look cool, right? Like, you get to show off in front of your friends. Like, you use this, and you could combine this with like Holy Avenger and just burst for like 15k or whatever, however much you can do. But again, you're not really there to... I don't know. It just feels cheesy, and it's not like enough healing, personally. And it costs so much mana. It costs 10% of your mana. I'm just not a fan. I don't know. I find that I get so many free wings from Awakening that I love it. This is just a playstyle that I've fallen in love with. I think that Paladin is one of the most flexible healers when it comes to talents, personally. So I'm not going to tell people that they can't play other things. If it works for you, that's good. But, I mean, I'm doing a lot of damage and a lot of healing at the same time, and my wings are almost always up, and I'm only at 15% haste, and it's going to keep getting better and better and better. So, last row, Divine Purpose. This obviously is really easy, good way to keep your mana up, and it constantly just gives you free Light of Dawns and Holy Shocks. Only problem about Divine Purpose is a little bit of a lottery talent, so it's not exactly reliable, but I'm okay with that personally. Maybe later on when you push harder Mythic Plus, you'll be forced to not take Divine Purpose, and if that day comes, then the whole build will probably change up. But if you have to do that, you have to do that. I'm just gonna play this build for as long as I can. If I have to switch out of it and make some changes, I will. Beacon of Faith gives you the 2 beacons. I think Beacon of Faith is the biggest trap. There's a lot of people that swear by it, and a lot of people that like it. But the problem with Beacon of Faith is you go from doing essentially 140% increased healing, because you have 100% of your healing plus 40% of the beacon, and then you get 2 beacons that do 28%, right? So 28 plus 28, what is that? 56. So you go from 140% increased healing to 156% increased healing, which isn't to say that's a 16% increase, because it's not. It's more like a 12% increase. So it's still a really solid... It's like 11. I don't know. It's in the Google Doc from the original guide, but it's okay, and it's certainly, I would say, probably best in a 5-man situation, because then you could put it on yourself, you could put it on the tank, and then you don't have to worry about doing some martyrs every once in a while or flash healing yourself, because it will be cheaper. I don't know, not the biggest fan personally. I think that if you're going to go that build, like, you'd rather just go Virtue. Like, if you're not going to go Divine Purpose and Awakening, then you probably should just run Virtue. Virtue, unfortunately, does take a GCD, but it's going to put up 4 beacons. Like, everybody in your group is going to have it, except for one person. and then you just heal that one person, right? So it's like you put 4 beacons up and then you just spam the one person. It's pretty fucking easy, and it's awesome, honestly. And it's the most injured targets, right? So, I mean, you pop this, like you pop one cooldown, then you pop this, and then you proceed to do some of the biggest stick healing in the world. So I guess my suggestion would be try to figure out what dungeon you're going to be running on the high-end Mythic Plus and create a strategy for it. If you can get away running this build, this is a very high DPS build, by the way. I do a lot of damage. I do on average about 6 to 14k DPS, right? So I'm like a steady 6k, like look at this. This is like the worst I've ever seen, and it's like 5k DPS. You know, I'm beating the Balanced Druid. I mean, he was a little freshly boosted, but like you can see, it just does a lot of damage. And when we pop coolies, I can go easily up to 11, 12k DPS. And I find that there's not too much to heal right now. So if you have God tier tank and you're just trying to get mythic keys done as quickly as possible, this is a pretty solid, consistently damage build. It doesn't have burst necessarily, but you do have a couple cooldowns. You have the Holy Avenger, you have the activated wings, you've got the constantly proccing wings, and this build scales super hard with haste. So enough of that. I'm going to go over my Azerite traits right now. So this is what I'm currently running with. This one I'm going with Meticulous Scheming because it gives haste, and Vampiric Speed because I am doing a lot of damage, and I'm always putting Consecrate down, so I'm pretty much always going to heal from that. Let's see, is this the one that we're going with here? I might have toyed around with that and changed that. Yeah, I think that's what we're going with. I don't really have too many options. Okay. Yeah. So I guess we're just going with the Mastery here. I think I just took this to kind of help give other people Mastery too. It's whatever. The main thing that you need to get, okay, when you're healing with the Holy Paladin, you need to get at least one of these traits. You need to get one of the Light of Dawn traits that increases its range to 40 yards, yeah? It's so important. After that, honestly, you could just grab whatever you want. I would suggest getting raw stats, anything with haste. I'm not the biggest fan of a lot of the other traits, personally. Okay, so there's a trait that makes your Blessing and Sacrifice heal. I think it's honestly shit. There's a trait that gives your Holy Shock a hot. It doesn't do that much. There's a trait that gives your Flash of Light heal an increase when you heal someone with a beacon. Problem with that is if you're healing someone with a beacon, you've already sort of fucked up, right? Unless you're playing this style, Beacon of Virtue. Problem is in a normal situation when you have the one beacon, you're already, like, if you decide to heal somebody, you're losing 40% of the healing. Now, you do get back 25% of the mana when you do heal your beacon target, so that is nice, but it's just not worth the loss in HPS, in my opinion, on average. On average, you're going to be spamming other people, and you're going to have the beacon on the tank, and you're going to be healing them. Or you have the beacon on yourself, and you're spamming other people, and you're alternating and using martyrs, right? So those are kind of the two different playstyles, I feel like. And personally, I just keep the beacon on the tank. I use martyr during movement phases. I don't know. I feel like the Paladin, there's a lot of flexibility right now with 5-man healing. But yeah, this is an absolute must of a trait. This thing is ridiculous. Like, look at those people, right? Yeah, I just healed those people all the way over there with Light of Dawn. Like, when you combine it with the Rule of Law, this becomes a 60-yard range because it goes from 40, increases another 50%, and then boom, 60-yard range. Like, I hit this button and it hits everybody. I have it macroed in. And so I know no matter what, I push my Light of Dawn, it's going to heal anybody on my screen. Like, and that's really nice. And the mastery is not going to be, too bad. So yeah, I think there's a couple other options, but I don't have all day to go over them. This gives haste. I think I was looking for a Light of Dawn. I haven't had a chance to play this guy too much, guys. I can't split my time between every single character. So yeah, I think I got this guy pretty geared up with what limited time I have. Let's go over stat weights. So here are my stat weights for my Paladin so far. I would like that to show up. That's kind of big. Okay. Oh, whatever. So this is for every 100 points. This is the average expected % increased HBS you're going to get. Sorry, that was a mouthful. So for 100 points of crit, you can get about 1.5% increased HPS. This is slightly above normal, and that's because of Infusion of Light. So because your Holy Shock doesn't get double your crit chance, it just gets plus 30% crit now. Crit doesn't scale as hard on a Paladin that people think it does. It does give Infusion of Light, which is nice, but again, you actually don't want to be using Infusion of Light procs like that much if you can help it. You want to try to do most of your healing just with Holy Shock and Light of Dawn. Obviously, that's a perfect world, and that's not going to be the case. So that's why you're going to be using some Infusion of Light procs. That's why I gave Critical Strike a little bump. But it's definitely not the king stat that I used to be. Intellect. This is easy. The formula for this is easy. You just take 100 and you divide it by your current intellect, and that's what your intellect is. This character doesn't have that much intellect, so it's a little bit higher than my druids, but he's getting there. Mastery. So mastery started at 2. The problem with mastery is it drops to half at just like 20 yards, right? And at 40 yards, you literally get 0 of your mastery. And because remember, we do have this talent right here, you can heal from a very far range now. So I find that I'm up with the melee and I'm Light of Dawning the ranged. So if you have a couple casters in the back, they're basically going to get nothing from your mastery, whereas like the melee is getting everything from your mastery. So I felt like on average in a raid setting and in a 5-man setting, you're probably only going to get half of your mastery to work. So that's why it's at 1.1 instead of 2. And I gave it a little bit of a bump because I felt like it was pretty good. But yeah, again, I just do all these stat weights myself. So if you feel like your mastery is worth more, obviously you can increase it. If you feel like it's less, you can decrease it. But this is where I have it. Haste. Now this was a fun one in Theorycraft, and I haven't really done all the math for it. But haste scales hard with this build. Because essentially, haste equals crit. And the reason for that is the higher haste you have, the higher uptime on wings you're going to have, right? Because of Awakening and Divine Purpose and the Crusader Strike. So the more haste you have, the lower cooldown your best spells are. So Light of Dawn and Holy Shock. The more haste you have, the lower cooldown of your Crusader Strike. And again, we have the talent, so it reduces the cooldown of Holy Shock and Light of Dawn by 1.5 seconds every time you use it. So because 1% haste reduces the cooldown of Crusader Strike by 1%, but Crusader Strike reduces the cooldown of Light of Dawn and Holy Shock by 1.5 seconds, which is more than just 1 second. It scales really hard. It like double and triple scales. It's really hard to explain. Essentially, when you have your wings cooldown up, it's giving you 30% crit and 30% increased healing, which is technically, because the way Blizzard math works, it's multiplicative. So when wings is up, you're actually doing 69% increased healing, because 30% of 30 is 9. So 30 plus 30 plus 9 is 69%. So all this haste increases the uptime of this 69% buff by a lot. Since it double dips, it's technically 2% for every 1%. So you take 2% and you times it by 0.69, and that adds like another 1.4 to the scaling, right? So I realize this is like I sound crazy as I'm trying to explain this, and it probably makes 0 sense to you, but just trust me when I say this is me lowballing the value of haste. It was at 3.5. I lowered it to 3 because I was worried about mana issues. But this stat is literally worth like double intellect. Like almost double your intellect. And pretty soon when intellect gets lower, it will be double the intellect. It's just insane. Like haste is so crazy on this fucking thing when you run Awakening. When you run these particular talents, haste is really good. If you're not going to run these talents though, then I would suggest crit is probably your best stat, right? If you're going to play the standard Paladin way, then you're going to have all different stats, and this entire conversation I've given you means nothing. Now, Leech is always, for every 100 Leech, it's 2.5% Leech. That's pretty straightforward. Leech is incredibly good for a Paladin because we can sack our own health with Martyr, and the heal that you do with Martyr gives you back health. I'm not sure if the damage that you do to yourself also counts as your damage, which helps you Leech. My guess is that Leech does not double dip that way. They're typically pretty good about double dipping. Versatility, this one pretty much will never change the entire game. Every 100 equals 1.172. Okay, that was long-winded, but yeah, I would say these are generally good stats to copy, with the exception of intellect. You will have to do that equation on your own, Remember, 100 divided by your current intellect, and you move the decimal place over 2 spots, I believe, right? So let me just show you real quick how to do that, because that can be confusing. Here's my intellect, 4,928. So I take 100 and I divide it by 4,928. And bada bing, bada boom, I move it over 2 spots, and that is my coefficient, 2.02. So I think I I need to change mine. Yeah, 2.02. Boom. And, oh, hello, I am blind. 2.02. Okay, good to go. All right. That's kind of how you do your stat weights. I don't trust any websites for my stat weights. All right, I have a video prepared from the stream, and we are going to watch it on 2x speed. I believe this is a proper shit show, so this should be a good video to review. Okay. So you'll notice that I try to do a lot of damage. Over here you'll see I'm quite often pretty high up on the damage meter. So when people are at full health, I'm just constantly doing damage. And all of these buttons over here, I just try to attempt to push on cooldown along with judgment. So it's just buttons, right? So I'm gonna Holy Shock, Light of Dawn, Crusader, Holy Shock, Light of Dawn, Crusader. I had to heal him 1 time. Dispelled him, Flash of Light. Like, it's an incredibly fast-paced, really fun build to do. And I just see how I'm Light of Dawning there just for fun. That was fishing for a proc. So there, I believe, I don't know why this video is lagging. There, I think I bubbled. Yeah, because I went real low. Okay, so now I'm hard casting Flash of Light. Okay, so here's a little tip, a little something. So I bubbled, but I bubbled at low health. Now I knew my bubble had a decent amount of time left, so I didn't heal myself. Once you bubble, you don't need to heal yourself, right? So I healed our warrior. Then I'll heal myself, and so the Light of Dawns will slowly get people back up. I have a Holy Shock. There you go. Use the Holy Shock. Use the Infusion of Light proc. Light of Dawn. Look, there's my free wings. See, no. There's something that just happened there I wanted to show you. If I can, well, I can't show you. But my Light of Dawn was down to about 3 seconds. Sorry, my Avenging Wrath was down to about 3 seconds. Light of Dawn came back up. I used it again, and it refreshed the duration. So if you get lucky enough with Divine Purpose procs and your Crusader striking and your Awakening, you can actually maintain wings forever. Literally forever. It's insane. It's truly insane. Like, look, wings are still up, and wings are coming off cooldown. So by the time these wings run out, those wings will be back up on cooldown. Like, I'm literally just permanently in wings. Like, it's insane. And you'll see here, so wings is up. I hard cast wings. Now, hopefully I can get you an example here. So 10 seconds, 9 seconds, hopefully. Oh no, this one's gonna run out. But if I had to keep casting Light of Dawn, you would have saw the wings potentially refresh. And so I'm just doing a lot of damage here. I play the Paladin kind of like a DPS. As you can see, I'm always at like 5k DPS at least, and that really helps clear the content, I feel like. And I'm just sort of dispelling, spot healing, constantly trying to AoE heal with Light of Dawn. This was a pretty crazy group because we had an all plate, Mythic 0, all melee. So it's kind of the dream as a Holy Paladin, you'd think, but man, let me tell you, it was not. They got hit by everything. And so here's yeah, this is bad. So this is a typically bad situation. I had used my bubble from earlier, which was maybe a little bit of a mistake here. And this is just, yeah, this is just like I'm spamming here. And so see how, okay, there's something I did there that I actually wanted to kind of show. So I was always only healing the lowest health person. Now the reason for this, and I was never topping anybody off, the reason for this is because Light of Dawn is going to heal 5 people, right? So you never just want to heal one person to full. You want to go to the lowest person and, you know, kind of go one by one. And so everybody was at 60%. I hit a really fat Light of Dawn, and now everybody's pretty much topped. And Mercy's also going to constantly heal people. So the trick is you never really want to top people as a Holy Paladin in 5s. You kind of just want to get people to like 90%, and then Mercy will take them the rest of the way, or Light of Dawn will take them the rest of the way. Because you should be spamming Light of Dawn just non-stop. So here we are. I popped my cooldown. I'm doing damage. There's a Light of Dawn, more Holy Shocking. I'm doing the mechanics because, you know, I'm doing it all. Look how much damage I'm doing too. I'm pulling 10k DPS right now while healing and doing the mechanics. Like, this is insane. Like, they may not be the best healers, but they certainly do a lot of damage. And so for that, I think they're balanced. And they're incredibly mobile. I had a rough time there. Oof, almost. I think I did miss that. I'm not sure. But yeah, I'm pretty sure I was yelling it right here. I was incredibly tired. I had been up for a whole day, by the way, when I made this video. Okay, yeah. This is, yeah, they're just doing bad. Like, I'm the only one doing bombs. And look, 5.5k DPS, right there with the rest of them, you know? The classic, you need that. Let's jump forward a little bit. Alright, let's see if we can get some. I think they die here, maybe. I'm not sure. Okay, so yeah, so he's getting focused. So even though the tank's taking like a lot of damage, I'm still spamming him, and I think I'll probably. Ooh, yeah, I knew they both died there. Stupid play wearers, dude. Okay, so now the tank was taking a lot of damage. I sacked him. I used my cooldown at Light of Dawn. I was fishing for a the wings proc, and I'm really spamming double Light of Dawn proc into Holy Shock, Light of Dawn, Holy Shock. So you can see, even though this is on 2x speed, you can see how quickly these things come back up. That's because of my haste, and that's because I'm Crusader striking. And I really feel like if you're super proactive, you know, the Mountain Dew's coursing in your vein, you're gonna love this build. It's awesome. Has a lot of range capabilities too. You know, you can Judgment into a Holy Shock, into you know, I do a lot of damage too. I mean, these deaths are basically their fault. There's not much I could have done about this. But yeah, I'm still putting out okay damage. I avoided all the bombs there because, you know, I'm not a bad player. There's some Holy Shock crits. And I'm just playing whack-a-mole essentially with your weak orders, right? I'm just constantly trying to push whatever shows up here on the screen. It's Light of Dawn, Crusader Strike, Holy Shock, Holy Shock, Holy Shock, you know, Light of Dawn, Light of Dawn. Just whatever keeps procking, I'm pushing. And I just, look, I'm just constantly, I have the wings, like always. Like, look, there's a wings proc. Speak of the devil. And if that had procced it, it would have given me another wings proc, but. Yeah, but if you pay attention, you'll notice it's just a lot of wings procs, just systematically over the course. I think we'll watch this next boss fight, and I will call the video. I want to say things do not end well for us. I think they. Oh yeah. There's a sack. So whenever the tank is taking a little bit too much damage, don't be afraid to just use your sack on cooldown. By the way, it's got a relatively short cooldown. See, now look at this, 25 seconds on my wings, okay? 27 seconds on wings. See, it just got refreshed again. So we've been enjoying like a 35 second wings now. It's insane. I love the wings cooldown. It's so much fun. I think we wipe here because, yeah, Foxy Ret goes up to too high of stacks, and there's just no way I can heal it, despite my best efforts. Like I buy any. Got double Light of Dawns there. I'm trying my fucking. You can see. Look at how I'm ping ponging back and forth between these health pools. They just keep going down. I'm doing decent HPS too, 16k. I want to say they stressed my mana too much out, and I went maybe. Oh no, it's just too much to heal. Yeah, when that went off, they buy a bunch of fucking monkeys, dude. They don't know how to do it. I got so triggered. They kept doing this fight wrong. Oh yeah, and then this. This is a pug tank too, I remember. I like how I have the greatest fucking clips to show you guys. Like, I could have picked so many successful Mythic Zeros that I did with my guild, but I was like, here's one with a pug. Because I feel like if I'm going to show you guys, I might as well show you guys a clip where everything goes wrong. Oh man, this is just no good. When do we get our shit together? Actually, I want to show you the last boss. I feel like that was good. Okay, so this is a pretty interesting fight because we are all melee, and so the rockets explode instantly on us. But because we're all melee, everybody's incredibly easy to heal with Light of Dawn, and you'll see I just sort of, yeah, see, we all took the rocket hit there, but look at Light of Dawn's doing work. Holy Shock's doing work. There's the Fusion of Light proc, Holy Shock, Fusion of Light proc, Light of Dawn, there's the Wings proc, Awakening proc, Crusader striking the boss, get cooldowns up, Light of Dawn, then the Divine Purpose proc. See, it's just proc. I love it, dude. This build is so much fun. I'm not maining Holy Paladin, but it's certainly my alt, and it is so much fun. Look at these monkeys doing everything wrong. They do all the mechanics wrong, and I'm just healing through it. Permanent wings. I'm having a blast. I really am. You can't tell it by my face, but it is so much fun. 10k is reasonable, I feel like. I'm still putting out decent damage, right? I kind of assumed more of a healer role in this one. A little bit less than the damage. There's wings. Let's see how long this wings last. Hopefully this is a good example of how long you can make your wings last. There we go. See? The wings just upped again. And look at that. The whole back half of the fight I had wings up the whole time. Yeah, this video is just sort of going on and on and on, but I wanted to show you how powerful it was and how much damage I can also kind of put out. This is sort of a bad example of damage. I typically can do around 5 to 6k while putting out a 10k HPS, so I think it's pretty awesome. And again, this Paladin's not that geared, and he is an alt, so yeah, I look forward to what's possible later on, and that's it for me, guys. Okay, guys, thanks for watching the video. Feel free to catch me streaming on Twitch at twitch.tv/lightwater. If you have any questions or comments or concerns, feel free to put them down below. If you want to like the video, that would help a lot. Yeah, guys, I also have an email you can message me at. Join our Discord. Basically, get in touch with us any way you want to, if you want to. This is Lightwater, and I'm signing off. Let's make healing great again.